I believe. Let's go ahead and welcome Emma.
All righty. Oh my gosh. Happening. All right, you guys. This is going to be a personal growth talk, the personal growth talk of team meeting. And so while these skills might not just apply to knives, these skills will apply to your everyday life. These skills will apply to school, will help you in your business, but also outside of your business. So make sure to take some good notes. I'm going to talk about stress management. We're heading into the fall. For some, that means starting up school. For some, that means starting up just like moving into the winter. And either way, I know fall generally brings a little bit more stress. Who you know, in the last month has started to feel a little more stress in their calendar, a little more stress in their lives. You know, I have heading into the fall, it's a little busier. Summer activities have ended. It's time to take things a little more seriously, a lot more homework. So talking about stress management is really important in your every day-to-day life. I mean, having the ability to manage your stress, you can maintain control in different situations and with different people. And it really just helps every single event in your life. And so I'm going to go through 9 different tips and strategies to deal with stress in your everyday life. So the first one is take a step away from the situation. Whatever it is, whether you are stressed about something with your family, maybe you're stressed about a certain assignment, maybe it's about work, take a step away, whether that's closing your laptop, whether that's literally walking away from that room, take a couple minutes and remove yourself from that stressful situation. Give yourself a break. I mean, even if it's just for a few minutes, nothing ever good happens when you have that stress bottled up. Nothing better is going to happen about that homework assignment. I know for me, like if I was really, really stressed and I was trying to get this paper done, it was only going to get worse. You could literally notice it in the assignment where I got stressed. So it's good to just take a break, walk away, try it again at a later time. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, analyze the situation. Look at the situation, look around it, think about it, what's stressing you out. And something that I use to analyze it is there anything that I can change about the situation? So let's say I'm stressed, I'm trying to go to bed, and all I can think about is that one lab that I don't understand, that one exam that I'm really, really nervous about. I think to myself, is there anything that can change that? And I write those things down. Because now I have a tangible list of action items that I can use to manage that stress. And you really want to learn to focus on the things that are within your control and the things that you can ignore. So if you're stressed and you find yourself in a situation where you are really overwhelmed, but you can't really change much about it, it's nice to be able to analyze the situation and realize, all right, I can pull myself away from that stress and I can start to move forward from it since I realized, that's out of my control. I can't do anything about it. So that's step number 2. Or tip number 2. Tip number 3 is just understanding your reaction. And you want to try changing how you see the situation. Stress is really just a reaction to the different events that you have going on right now in that moment. And it's really easy to lock yourself into viewing something in one specific way. It's really easy to say, all right, I'm stressed because it's only this. I'm worried about this. But you really want to seek that outside perspective of that situation. It's kind of like a bird's eye view. You know, if there's someone running through a maze, you can't really see the solution to the end, but if you try to take a bird's eye view of that maze, it's really simple, right? It's really easy to find the way back out of that maze. So you want to try to take that step back and try to understand it and compare it with other situations, maybe talk to other people about that and see what other people have thought about that situation when you're not in it yourself. I find it's a lot easier to make decisions about someone else's situation that they're stressed about, right? But it's because you can see the entirety of it and see the whole. So you can piece together the puzzle that they can't see because they're stuck in that emotion. So try to analyze it from a bird's eye view. Now, when you're managing your stress and you're trying to understand your reaction, I try to isolate the different effects at one time. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. So if I'm looking at something really, really big that's overwhelming me, maybe it's something with my family, I try to look at how it can affect me in different ways, but I only tackle them one by one. If you try to tackle everything at once and try to fix all your problems at once, you're likely not going to even find a solution for one of those things. So handling things one by one is a great strategy to understanding the reactions. Now, fourth tip, set priorities. Like I just mentioned, you wanted to take things step by step. So you want to understand like what's most important to work through first. So let's say I'm worried about my referrals. Maybe I'm looking at my list thinking I don't have as many names and numbers as I would like. Prioritize what needs to happen first. You guys know you want to start trying to generate names and numbers from social media, trying to ask parents for help. That's going to get you the best demos quickest. So that's probably the first solution and first idea of working through that. And if you handle each task as they come to you, or if you selectively deal with them in matters of priority, you're automatically reducing your stress so much quicker. Who looks at a big list of things that they're stressed about and tries to handle the easiest one first? Like sometimes that's the most that's the highest in their priority list, but like sometimes it's not, and most often it's not. Most often it's the one that's not really stressing you out at that moment, but like it's easy, so you're just going to get it done. So you always want to try to tackle the one that's the most pressing first. Now for me, I make a to-do list for the next day before I go to bed. So like I'm not going to bed having a million different thoughts running around my brain of all the million things that I have to do the next day. I just make a to-do list. I make priorities. I know what I'm going to do the next day. I have an action plan. It eliminates that stress because I know exactly what I'm going to do to change it. It also reduces the amount of just like stressful situations that you're going to have in the future. It's like if I'm going to start out a day and it's going to be a little bit of a stressful day, if I take that moment to set my priorities straight, make to-do lists, I know that the likelihood of me feeling that stress later in the day is so much less. You're setting yourself up for success, really. So that's tip number 4, set priorities. Tip number 5 is just to avoid those, speaking of reactions, to avoid those extreme reactions. I know it's easy, those emotions when you're feeling that high amount of stress, it's easy to feel anger or hate, to feel anxiety, or to just kind of hole up on yourself. So you really want to try to separate the emotion from the event. I know when I let emotion kind of play into it, I'm probably not even going to handle that situation effectively. So I always take this is another strategy for this tip is to just take a couple seconds before you, just a couple seconds to think before you start to react. You even start to think about fixing that stressful situation. You always want to take a couple seconds to analyze things in your head, take a beat. Again, it brings us back to that first tip of just taking yourself out of that stressful situation. Just allows you to avoid that extreme reaction, because that's draining. That doesn't help the rest of your day. And sometimes it's unavoidable. I understand that there are situations where it's just unavoidable to react, but it prevents you from dealing with very draining emotions that might affect the rest of your day. One big strategy for this one is I try to change the words that I'm using to think about the situation and how I describe it to myself. So if maybe I'm looking at, keep going back to school because I know most of us are students, but it can apply to really anybody. But if I know I'm heading into a day with 17 million assignments to do and a couple exams that I'm nervous about, it's easy to catch yourself in a mindset of, oh my gosh, this is going to be so bad. This is going to be so awful. I don't know if I'm going to do this. I don't think I'm going to succeed at this exam. And changing that phrasing into, I've got a lot to do. It's going to be an interesting day. But it's a lot about self-talk. It's a lot about just the wording of how you're describing that situation. If you can describe the situation in a lighter light, you'll likely have less of an extreme reaction. So that's 5. 6, relaxation techniques. Because sometimes your days are just stressful. Sometimes you just have a stressful week. Sometimes you have already had that extreme reaction. So what do you do in your personal life to relieve that stress? And does it work? Like, I want each of you to think about what you guys do individually. Maybe it's working out, maybe it's going for a run, maybe it's taking a nap, maybe it's taking a literal break, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it is. You really want to make sure that you have those techniques to be able to handle stress. Also understand if it's not working for you. Maybe you need to try something different. I know a lot of people who journal. I know a lot of people who hate journaling. I know a lot of people who like meditating and breathing techniques. I know people who don't do that. People who take cold showers. Do you really want to find something that just works for you? It really helps just practicing that clearing of your mind, especially in those moments, because if you can reset yourself and think about each situation critically, you're much more likely to feel a lot less stress. 7th tip, just get enough sleep. More often than not, if you get a full night's rest, Tristan's laughing because he's like, I'm a student, I don't have time for sleep. Sleep helps, even if it's going to sacrifice doing 1 or 2 homework assignments. It's not the end of the world. If you get that extra hour of sleep, if you find a way to get to bed, your body is literally going to function so much better. You're allowing your brain to have that reset while you're sleeping. Even if you can't avoid that extreme reaction, even if you can't find a technique to de-stress you in that situation, sleeping forces your brain to take a break from anything that was strenuous that happened that day. You know, sounds a little hypocritical because there are times when it's hard to get sleep. It's hard when you have a lot going on, or maybe you're stressed and like the other night I couldn't fall asleep because of stress, you know? But making stress a priority in your life will help in every single aspect. Tip number 8. So I like this one. Try to do something for others. I find that if I can do something for others and do something that makes others feel good, makes me feel like I'm working towards something bigger, improving somebody else's life, even if it's in a small way. Maybe you buy coffee for a friend. Maybe you pay for a lunch. Maybe you go out of your way to help a friend who you know has been struggling in a certain topic in school. I don't know. Maybe it's a family member. But I find that if I do something nice for someone else, I'm not only just taking my mind off of what I have going on personally, but that is stressful, that feeling of helping somebody else is de-stressing to me, and is really, it releases that serotonin, that dopamine in your brain that your brain needs, because you're making somebody else feel so good. And then tip number 9, which clues into that as well, is just a lot of positivity. A whole lot of positivity. You want to be kind on yourself. And positivity isn't always faking it. It's not, oh my gosh, everything's great, I'm going to trick myself into thinking it's fine. Because maybe you need a time to work through your stress, maybe time to deal with the negative emotions, but you want to be kind on yourself. Understand that you need that sleep. Understand that you might have an extreme reaction. You want to be positive about your situation, and knowing that you have the ability to work through it. You have people in your life that want to help you work through stressful situations, manage stress. You have teachers, professors, you have managers, you have friends, you have family. And if you literally, anybody in this room or on this call can't think of anybody, you have like us. You have people in your life who support you and will help you through whatever. So keeping a positive attitude about all of it goes so far, so much farther than it would be if you sat there with those negative thoughts and you let those fester, because that doesn't do anything good for your confidence or your progress. So those are just a couple different tips. I mentioned a couple different strategies. So maybe one of those strategies you looked at and you're like, wow, if I really worked on that, like my days would be a lot smoother. Or maybe if I just finally freaking got 8 hours of sleep a night, I could function a lot better the next day. I wouldn't be stressed about not sleeping that night. You know what I mean? Not sleeping causes more stress. So definitely review these notes. Maybe try to change one thing this week. What's one thing? I want everybody here to write down one thing that you could possibly work on this week. Maybe it's a new stress relieving technique. Maybe it's get something done that you've been stressed about because you finally made it a priority. We all have that one thing that we've been avoiding, and that's stressing us the hell out. For me, I know for me, I'm going to start working on that one paper so I can finally get my diploma, because that's been stressing me out, and that's literally number one priority, but I've made it last, right? So you want to reset your priorities. But anybody want to share some nuggets in the chat? Anyone wants to share something that they are going to work on this week? Jen said, get better sleep. Choose how you react. Set your priorities. Huge. Start sending out. Yep. Growing your list. Working on the action steps that can help you to bettering your stress on the situation. Think before you act and try to fix things. It's easy to react right away, right? It's really easy just to automatically bring in those emotions and react. But if you just take a second to think, we've all had those heated text messages that we want to send and we just want to send it right back. But if we think a second, we wouldn't send that text, right? So why don't we do that with our situations in real life that are stressful? We've got finish a big assignment first. School's important. It's the fall, you guys. Getting your homework done is important, and sleep better. Cool. All right, well, looks like you guys got some things away from that. That's your personal growth. No knives. I like talks that don't have knives too, because this job has helped develop a lot of people into having better habits. But all right, well, next we have talk about referrals. Speaking of referrals, we're going to dive into some tips and tricks. It's a topic that we talk about a lot, but as you guys can tell, because we talk about it a lot, it's really, 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 really important. So let's let Trey talk about referrals.
Good job, Emma. Doing a great talk. I know I was taking notes during that time. I know that school and work can be stressful, and finding the balance of both. I'm definitely going to be taking some tips from that as well. So what I need you guys to go ahead and do is pull to a brand new page of your guys' notes. And I need you to title this Recommendation Mastery. Recommendation Mastery. And I got a couple tips for you guys. So the first thing I want you guys to go ahead and write down is kiss your customers. Don't actually kiss them. KISS is an acronym, stands for Keep It Super Simple. Kiss your customers. When you're with your customers, just kiss them. Keep it super simple. This job is very, very simple. You read your script, click next slide, right? So the more that you guys can keep it simple with your customers, the better off you guys will be. They don't know what getting recs is or getting more recos or anything like that. They don't know our Cutco lingo, right? So you need to talk to them like they don't know anything about Cutco. They don't, like, the way you talk to me and Emma is going to be different than the way you guys talk to your guys' customers, right? So just keep it super simple. And the more you guys can make this job a game and just simplify it, the better off you guys will be. This is something that I've talked to my squad about, is just keep it super simple, because it's like a game. If you think of it as a game and not like work, you guys' results will get a lot better. And what's the game? How many recommendations can I get? How many more can I get? How can I get that next sale, right? The second thing I want you guys to go ahead and write down is rapport. Rapport is the secret sauce to everything. People ask me, it's like, Trey, like, do you have a script for this? Do you have a script for this? Do you have a program for this? Or whatever. Like, what do you say to your presentations? Like, rapport. Rapport will fix everything in your guys' demos. That'll help you guys get more recommendations, more sales, just everything. People don't want to buy from a salesperson. They want to buy from a friend. If some random person came up to you guys on the street and was like, yo, give me 10 of your best friends' names and numbers, I'm going to sell them nuts. You'd be like, dude, what the hell? Get away from me. Like, who is this dude trying to sell my friends knives? What a weirdo. Versus if me, Emma, or Tristan came up to you and you was like, hey, can I get 10 of your guys' closest friends? I'm not looking for people who you think would buy, just nice people like you that are willing to take a look. I got a pen and piece of paper. Who do you think we can add first? Which sounded better, one or two? One or two? Two. Perfect. Exactly, right? So you guys want to make a friend in your guys' presentation. I want you guys to write that down. During the rapport, Make a friend. Connect to your customer. And while you guys are building rapport, you're probably like, Trey, I'm not very good at building rapport. I don't really know what to ask. Well, let me give you guys a couple tips and tricks on a few rapport building questions that you can ask. Mrs. Jones, how are your kids? People love talking about their kids. People will love to talk and brag. I'm not sure about you guys, but my mom's Facebook is like, I look so good on my mom's Facebook. People think I'm like the best person ever on my mom's Facebook. Right? My mom loves bragging about me. So do other people. So asking about their kids. Next is asking about their family. Like, hey, how are your aunts? How are your uncles? How are your cousins? How's your brother? How's your sister? How's your mother? How's your father? Right? Be interesting. No, be interested, not interesting. Be interested in Mrs. Jones. I want you guys to write that phrase down. Be interested, not interesting. Be interested in Mrs. Jones' goals. Be interested in her family, her kids. Next, ask about vacations. Ask about how her summertime went. I know for you, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people were doing a lot of traveling this year. This is the first year that things are actually opened up. Ask Mrs. Jones about her travel. Another good rapport build is just being able to ask Mrs. Jones how her day is. Mrs. Jones, how's your day going so far? Pretty good? Perfect, Mrs. Jones. Well, if your day's not going too good, it's about to get a lot sharper. Thank you. I'll be here all week. But what that does is that name hunts. You guys need to be a name hunter, and you do that through rapport. So what did we talk about? We talked about her kids, right? And I guarantee you she's going to tell you what her kids are involved in. They're going to talk about how they play sports, how they just started high school, college, middle school. And I guarantee you that they have other parent contact information. So let's say I'm doing a presentation for a customer and they have a kid who's just starting high school. I guarantee you that they are in some group chats with some other parents. And at the end, you can bring that up. Just like, hey, Mrs. Jones, what about little Johnny's softball team or baseball team? I know that you said that he just started that. I'm sure that you guys are organizing rides and carpools, and I'm sure you're bringing tons of orange slices. So can I get some of those people's names and numbers? You want to drop names in the beginning and then bring them up at the end. Because who's ever got the objection of, I don't know anybody, or I don't have any friends? Yeah, you can call bullshit on that real quick. They've been alive on this earth a lot longer than you guys have, and I guarantee that they know a lot more people than you guys do. So build rapport. It's psychology. You're dropping the hint at the beginning and bringing it up at the end. Because if Mrs. Jones says, I don't know anybody and I don't have any friends, you can say, Mrs. Jones, what are you talking about? You got a little Jimmy softball league. Your aunts, your uncles, and your cousins are doing great right now. And plus, your kid just started Little League baseball. Like, I know that you're in a group chat with their parents. That's like 15 people right there that Mrs. Jones for sure has numbers for. That's just like the psychology behind recommendations. The next, I want you guys to put this in bullet points, italicize it, put stars next to it, circle it. Read your script. Read your script word for word, bar for bar, verse for verse. It is that easy and it is that simple. If you read your script, you will not fail. Every single word in that script is put there for a specific reason. Every single word. So read it word for word. Even if you like mess it up as bad as possible and you're stuttering and you're nervous, if you say it word for word, you will not fail. We will not let you fail. And the script does not fail. I've been reading that script word for word, bar for bar, verse to verse for the past 3 years. And I've been able to gather hundreds and thousands of recommendations and get lots of names and numbers. Whoever in high school had like that teacher like that made them memorize like a poem and like say it in front of the class, and you're like, this is so dumb. Like, why do I need to learn this? It's so stupid, right? I guarantee you, you guys memorize your recommendations approach and it will make you money. Memorize your recommendations approach and it will make you money. Write that down. Memorize the recommendations approach equals money. Because that's what it's doing. It's making you guys more money. And that's what we're really here for. And then the third thing, or whatever key I'm on, re-ask. I guarantee you, if you just ask again, your average referrals will go up through the roof. Who here asked one time, it's their 5, and it's like, cool, bye, Mrs. Jones. Like, no, like you got 5. Come on, Mrs. Jones, you can get me to that next. Can you get me to another 10? Can you go back and just scroll through? You might have missed someone. Always, always, always re-ask. Next is get Mrs. Jones to be a sponsor. It's so silly, it's so goofy. Mrs. Jones will love it. If you give me 5 recommendations, Mrs. Jones, you become a sponsor. If you give me 10, you become a double sponsor. Once I have 50 sponsors, I get 1 free piece of Cutco from my manager. Right now, you gave me 7 recommendations. Is there any way that you can get me 3 more so you can become a double sponsor? Boom, you guys just got 3 more recommendations just like that. Ask again. Use the sponsorships to your guys' advantage. Keep track of your guys' sponsorships. That's social proof. You can say, Mrs. Jones, I have 32 sponsors. That means 32 people have given me over 5 or more recommendations. It's not weird, Mrs. Jones. Everybody does it. And plus, me, Emma, and Tristan, we have money to spend. We want to give you guys more. Cutco. Start keeping track of your guys' sponsorships, and then you guys could win any free homemaker piece that you guys want. So keep track of a sponsorship page. Always asking 5 for 10. Another great thing that you guys can do is if you can tell that Mrs. Jones is kind of competitive and she likes the best of everything, here's a phrase that got me a ton of recommendations. Mrs. Jones, if you can beat my record of 32 recommendations, I can get you a free gadget of choice added onto your order. Mrs. Jones, if you can beat my record of 32 recommendations, I can get you a free gadget of choice. And as long as you guys are selling something over $175, you guys can throw that in. Even if Mrs. Jones buys a butcher knife, 1 butcher knife, you can add in either a veggie peeler or an ice cream scoop, right? That's like our pick 3 special. It's our gadget special right there. So Mrs. Jones, if you can beat my record of 32 recommendations or whatever your guys' personal record is, you can get a free gadget of choice. People go nuts for free Cutco. So the more free Cutco that you can get into your customers' hands, it's a silly incentive. And it costs you what, like 20 bonus points? Literally 20 bonus points for a veggie peeler, right? How awesome would it be to spend 20 bonus points and then be able to get 5, 10, 30, 50, 100 more recommendations? I know what some of my, what I used to do and some of my reps do. I know Kayla Weber does a great job of this with her referrals. She'll say for every 15 recommendations that you give me, your name gets thrown into a drawing. And at the end of the month, one of my customers gets a free knife. So every 15 people that you put into this hat, Mrs. Jones, that's 1 entry. And then you could win a free knife. So do contests with your customers. People love that competitive nature. Who here is doing contests right now with their customers with referrals? 1 person, Tristan's like me. Perfect. So get contests going. People love, love, love contests. People are competitive by nature and they don't want to be left out. So those are some of the tips and tricks that I have for you guys on just mastering referrals and recommendations. In the chat box, I want you guys to go ahead and post your guys' biggest takeaway. What was your guys' biggest takeaway? Finn said memorizing equals money. Absolutely. Veronica said use their competitive nature against them. Absolutely. John said keeping it simple. Nicholas said make a friend. Jadine said keep track of your sponsors. Chrisnell said be interested, not interesting. Tristan says try to get those sponsors. Ashley said memorizing the script. Jadine says always re-ask. Recommendations, make it a contest. Absolutely. Contest with your customers. Perfect. Awesome, you guys. That's everything I have for recommendations. now what we're going to go ahead and do is dive into some recognition, some standings for the week. So I'm going to pass over to Emma and Tristan, and they're going to go ahead and go through some recognition.
All right, we got a couple things to look at here. Let me pull my slides up with you guys. All right, let's check out how we did last week. So here is, if you don't know whose team you're on, this is what team you're on. So we got the French Fangs, ran by Finn. The Knife of the Party, ran by Ashley. Slice Slice Baby, Kayla. Orange Slices, led by Trey. Blazing Butchers, led by Josh. The Knife Savers, that's my squad. Blade Runners, led by Nick. And the Confident Covers, led by Emma Rubinstein. There's a child running around our office. Don't know whose it is. My screen is not loading. What is going on? What slide do you guys see right now? Oh, there we go.
Oh, shoot. There we
Okay.
go.
We got the Knife of the Party coming in the back here. And we got the French Fangs. I haven't made his slide yet for him, but 248 for the French Fangs and Finn. Last week we had Slice Slice Baby at 263, led by Kayla. Then we got the Blazing Butchers coming in at 1632. Kyle Dulay leading the team over the newsletter, over a granny, a nice $1,600 a week. Him and Josh taking it down. Then we got the Knife Savers at 1830, led by Mike. Mike also had a $1,600 week. Then we got the Confident Carvers at 1930, led by Jonathan, who wrote up 2 homemakers, and Emma personally had 92 CPO. Then we got the Orange Slices at 2068 with Cheryline over the newsletter. Nice week there. And I feel like Chris was supposed to be on there too. Oh, Chris over the newsletter. And then number 1 for last week, the Blade Runners, led by Gibson Jordan, who just hopped off. He had a 3K week, and Nick had some CPO as well. A nice 32.45 week by the Blade Runners. Here's where the last 2 weeks we didn't do it. I didn't show you guys this last week because we were on division meeting, but these are what the last 2 weeks shaped up to look like. The Confident Carvers took down the Orange Slices. Knife Savers taking the dub there in week 2, and then the French Fangs taking their dub week 2. And then the Blazing Butchers barely beating out the Blade Runners. And then for week 3, the Confident Carvers beating the Blazing Butchers, a couple of CPO. And then the Blade Runners just making a slaughter out of this right here, 3,200 to 263. Knife Savers beat the French Fangs, and then the Orange Slices took the dub as well. This is where we're at for the year, or for the campaign so far. What we're at in campaign sales, what last week looked like. Your team MVPs, nice job, Colton, Gibson, Kyle, Brandon, and Braden, and East Denver squad, who knows. And then your team record over here on the right. We're currently in the pool right now. This is the round robin. Everybody's playing each other, and then we'll seed it for the next 7 weeks. So the who's this? The Confident Carvers leading the way at 3-0, and we got a bunch of 2-1 teams, and then some 0-3 and 1-2 teams. So looking good there. Here's your matchup for the week right now. Confident Carvers going up against the Blade Runners this week. Blazing Butchers against the Blades of Glory. Slice Slice Baby against the Knife of the Party. And Knife Savers taking on the Orange Slices. Should be
Easy
good.
dub. Easy dub.
You put up a 0 week like 2 weeks ago. Let's chill there. All right. Then we got the 1 CPO to 499.
We got Veronica Harding with 61 CPO. Get back on that board. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we're going alternate. All right. Then we got Tristan DeVries with 1 order on the board, 77 CPO while at school. Nice weekend. Tristan makes 30% of that. Can't complain there. Nice little demo being done. We'll clap for Tristan on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Then we've got Lane on the board with 92 CPO. Let's go, Lane. 1, 2, 3.
And then Emma herself at 1 order on the board, 95 CPO. One clap for Emma. 3, 1, 2, 3.
We've got Isabella writing up an order in the middle of school with 135 CPO. One clap for Isabella. 1, 2, 3.
And we got Colton, 1 order on the board, 138 CPO. One clap for him. 1, 2, 3.
Nicholas on the board 168 CPO, one clap for Nicholas, 1, 2, 3.
Then we got Nick Atzenbeck with one order on the board at 306. One clap for him on 3, 1, 2, 3.
And then 2 weeks. She's CSP making half that 1 week. 1, 2, 3.
It's like the 4th week in a row no one's been over 500 in between 5 and 999. So I don't know if that's good or bad. You're over 1,000 at least. If you're not over 500, get there. All right. Then we got 1,000 to 2,000. This is what really matters. Being over the newsletter is the important part. Means you did your job for the week. Good job. And it means you get a nice paycheck. That feels good. So Michael just got started with us this last weekend. Let's give a one clap for him on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Jadine at 1512.
Jadine at 1512 for the week. Woo! Leading by example as an assistant manager. That's how we do it. 1, 2, 3.
Then we got Kyle Dulay with the second week on the job, 1632. Wrote up like 20 snack packs, which is dope, and hit that 3K promo. So nice job, Kyle. I'm excited to see what keeps happening with you. Keep up the good work. All about consistency, and you'll start making some nice paychecks here. One clap for Kyle on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Then we've got Jonathan writing up a literal Miracle Monday order. 2 homemakers and 1 phone call with a lady who had already bought Cutco. Not bad. Literally picking up the phone and making almost $600 on a phone call. One clap for Jonathan. 1, 2, 3.
We got 2K to 3K. Nada. Then we got 3K plus.
Chris Nell at $2,000 in sales.
From 2K to 3K, we had Chris Nell over 2K.
Woo!
One clap for him on 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we've got 3K plus. These are for our ballers here. Gibson just got started. He had to jump off early. You guys saw him on here earlier, but he had to go work on some midterms. But $3,000 in his first weekend on the job, leading the team, very strong. So nice job. Let's give one clap for Gibson on 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we got Robert, Michael, Tanya, William, Jonah, Blake, Curtis. Blake, 28K for the week, his best week ever, down at a show in New Mexico. He absolutely crushed it. Curtis, number 9 rep in the entire company for the week, leading South Denver by example. So let's give them a one clap on 3, 1, 2, 3. 50% of that, not too bad. Then we got our consistency club here. This is over $1,000 for the week. This is hitting newsletter on the week. If you get to 5 in a row, you win a gadget pack. If you get to 10 in a row, you get to win a K-bar. So nice job, Kyle, with 2 weeks in a row now. 3 more and you get that prize. Gibson and Michael and Jonathan on their first one right now. So let's give a what? And no, that's not what this is. So let's give one clap for 3. Kayla has the record at, I got to set my fantasy lineup. Kayla has the record at 9 weeks in a row. Kayla set that over the summer. So one clap for everybody on 3, 1, 2, 3.
And then we've got grand days. That means you got over a grand just in one day. Not bad. Literally getting over the newsletter in one day. So far for the campaign, we've got Brandon Hussey at 2, Kyle at 2, everybody else at 1, and then Jonathan at 1.
Yeah.
Hell
And
yeah.
Nick won it last summer or over the summer, so he got a free knife. So lots of 3 months left in the fall to knock this out. So keep crushing it, guys. Then we got some promotions this last week.
Chris Nell too.
On which, okay, for 1K promos, we got Michael at 1K. Nice job, Mike. Knocking out that 1K promo, going after his 3K, big weekend coming up. And then
we also have Chris Nell knocking out his first promotion. Chris Nell has been an awesome rep to work with. He's super consistent, always calling, checking in, checking out, asking for deals. Had a baller week last week, made over $200 in income while being around a full-time schedule and helping to build the team. His sister Mary is on the call right now. He decided to spread the word. So we're a family here at Cutco. We're getting the whole family involved. So Chris Nell, keep doing what you're doing, man. I am super proud of you. He comes to events. He comes to study hall. He got some papers and some homework done last week, and I cannot be more proud of him. Me and him have sat down before classes, had a couple of PCs, and me and him have just been really, really confident in his abilities. And he is learning more and more every single day on team meeting, making his phone calls, having demos ahead. Chris Nell, welcome to the team. Welcome to hitting your first promotion. I'm so proud of you. So round of applause for Chris Nell.
good job, Chris Nell.
Thank you. You almost made me cry.
We love you. All right. 3K promos. We had Gibson knock out his 3K promo with a nice first weekend on the job. And then Kyle Dulay knocking out his promo. Kyle plays golf out to, I don't know where he went. There he is. Kyle plays golf out at Ottawa University. He's got an unbelievable busy schedule. It's like golf practice 24/7 for that man, and then school. But the last 2 weeks, been able to knock out that 3K promo, 1,500 pretty much both weeks to knock it out. And what's cool now is you're at 20% commission, and you have to do half the work that you've been doing to make exactly what you made the first week of the job. So a lot of good stuff ahead of you, Kyle. I'm excited. We'll go knock out that 6K promo. I know you're busy, but the weekends are going to be fun. Getting those demos in any chance you can, and making some good money for the next couple months. So let's give a round of applause to Kyle for knocking out that 3K promo. All right, no 6K or 10K promos last week, but we do have a couple people getting close to that 6K promo. So let's go knock those out. Get to that 30 mark as fast as possible. That way you can start working a hell of a lot less and making some good money. Just ask J. Dean and Kayla and Nick and Josh. I don't know if J. Dean's over 10K. I think she is though. We've recognized her for hitting like 8 million promotions in the last 2 months. So who knows where she's at? But just ask them. They enjoy the promotions and the high percentage. It makes it feel good. You can sell a homie on Sunday morning before football in your pajamas and make $300. I don't know where else you can do that unless you're selling your body. All right, let's go on. Our summer 10K fast starters.
We need some fall 10K
We need
fast
some
starters.
fall ones.
Get your friends in, and they'll be the next 10K fast starter. That's the solution.
We need some new ones.
Speaking
Alrighty.
of friends.
Top 10 for the fall in the South Denver office because no one else wants to update the numbers. Nick at $22.99, Gibson at 3K, Kyle there at that number, I think 8 spot, $35.43. Everybody else is at this level. Very good. Then we've got our top 15 for the year in the South Denver office again. Then we've got number 15, Tui, Bailey, number 14, Tristan moving up there, number 13, Isabella, number 11, Nick making a push, getting to that 30K spot here soon. He's almost there. Very good. Oh, and then I threw this in here this week because I thought it was cool. Here's our Silver Cup report. I wanted to update you guys on where everybody's at in the Silver Cup race. So this shows a couple different things. We've got down here on the bottom right is the Pilot Silver Cup race. Right now, the South Denver office, we're sitting in number 3rd. We're at 2,033,000 as of this does not count the week we just had because that'll come out tomorrow. But this is as of 2 weeks ago. So we're getting close to taking over that number 1 spot. And then you guys can see over here on the left, you're going to see the Castle Rock office sitting in number 1, 2, 3,
13.
4. Number 13 for the Castle Rock office, only 4K behind the number 12 spot. And really, everything all the way up to like number 8 up here or 7 is all pretty close. It's only like a 15K difference. So that's going to be cut down pretty quickly. And then you see East Denver down here, 78K, not counting last week. So they might have jumped up a couple spots there, sitting at about 23rd currently, 22nd maybe. And so definitely probably getting into the top 20 after this $4,900 week they just had. So very, very exciting positions that we're in right now. Here's the thing, just so you guys know, we don't like that West guy there.
No.
We want to kick his butt.
We don't like him.
All right. Over the last 10 years, Wes has beat Drew in sales 1 year. 1 year over the last 10 years. We cannot let that happen. All right. So if you're on my team, we're only behind like 130K. That is a doable comeback.
Dane Escobar.
Now, yeah, up in Minneapolis, they're shipping some knives up there. So if they can ship knives like that,
we can ship knives like that.
Knives. Cool. All right. Good job, guys. That's what we got.
Castle Rock in 13th. East Denver in 23rd. 28th.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know. 20. You guys, it's so exciting for our offices to be competing at a level like this. I don't think we really stress it enough how exciting it is. Like that gets nationally recognized. And like our offices have never like historically before we ran them have historically never had their names up this high. Castle Rock has never been an office to have its name up that high. East Denver's never been up there. So this is huge. So I'm excited to keep building, at least for my Castle Rock peeps, and I can say, and I know Trey can say the same for East Denver. And I know Tristan can say the same for Pilot. We're going to win some big goals this year. So let's crush the fall. let's keep going this week, guys. This week is important though. This week is a really big momentum building week. So let's build this weekend up with a lot of demos. Let's push as hard as we can so we can keep taking spots 1, 2, and 3 in the division. We got to take those back. It's not right. We're not in them.
Here's the thing. South Denver, we were number 1 last week. East Denver, we were number 2. So she's talking about Castle Rock. You guys got to get back up there in the top 3. All right, crush this week. Book some more demos if you don't have enough. And we'll see all of you guys later. Phone jam tomorrow at 11 and 12. If you guys need to book more demos, links will be posted. Have a good night. Go Panthers.